so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Oh my gosh, we are here in Las Vegas and we are doing our podcast, Thoughts for Rent, Realtors Keeping It Real. And I am so excited to introduce one of my best team members. I like to call her my partner in crime, Alonda Kirkland. Alonda, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do for McKenna Property Management?
So I've been with Jenni for 16 years.
What? You put up with me for 16 years?
I don't know life without you, dear. Yeah, so I've been with Jenni for 16 years. She has taught me everything I know and staying up with the laws and whatnot and these closeout security deposit transmittals and things like that. That is, that's everything.
Well, the interesting about Alonda is that Alonda started at McKenna Property Management at the front desk, and she has done every position. So she went from front desk, and then she did like marketing, and then she did all kinds of things. I'm trying to think of all the different things.
I've done the HOA stuff.
HOA, that's right.
Took over the multifamilies when you decided to do multifamily complexes.
That was a very short moment of insanity for me, just so that you guys know I do not do multifamilies anymore.
Thank goodness.
But today, the reason I wanted Alonda on our podcast is because we are going to dive into, as an owner that you are owning an investment property, what you need to look at for the pitfalls on when that resident moves out. Mm-hmm. And we're also going to try and frame this podcast to how to set up a resident for success on their move out.
Yes.
Alonda has been doing we call it the closeout department. And Alonda's been doing the closeout department for how many years?
9 years as of September.
So I think it's safe to say to everybody that is listening, she has seen some serious stuff. And if I could cuss on this podcast, I would say the other word. Because let me tell you, in property management, when you are closing out 30 to 35 properties a month, there's a lot of stuff you're going to see, a lot of stuff that you have to deal with. I'm Jenni McKenna. I'm the owner-broker of McKenna Property Management, and I say, let's just dive right in.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to dive in first and foremost is, how do you handle the owners after you do a walkthrough? So somebody does a walkthrough, our field agent. Mm-hmm. They supply, a couple hundred photos?
Yes.
And when you're reviewing those photos, how do you call an owner or reach out to an owner and say, what do they need to do? Like, what's your thought pattern on that?
So it takes me a little bit of time. So we usually get anywhere between 200 to 400 photos from our field agents of everything that needs to be done, on top of a written document of things that they took a photo of, but you can't really have a photo of what the item is.
And why are the photos so important?
Well, photos help us in court when we get sued.
Yeah. So ding, ding, ding. Anyone who's listening out there and you're managing your own property, photos and video is the only way you're going to defend yourself. So those 200 photos are going to protect us in court.
Yeah. And so what I do is I go through the move-in inspection report that was turned in by the resident. I go through our before photos of our marketing. I go through when Seymour Site Eval goes out to the properties on the 10th month. I go through all those to see the conditions of the properties and how they were treated throughout the years of a resident living there. And then from there, if an owner, if it's a new owner and somebody who's not really great with property management, I will type up my email to them with the link of the photos and my thought process on how I feel things should be addressed to get it back on the market. And then I will call them and I will touch them via phone before I do send that email out so that they know that I'm sorry, I don't want to do this, but you're going to have to see the way that your property was left.
And this would be maybe a property that wasn't left in stellar condition.
Correct.
This is a property that has exceeded normal wear and tear.
Correct.
Because in Nevada, we have a law. And the law states that as a security deposit, a property owner or a property manager can only charge against the security deposit for three things. Alonda, what are those three things?
The one is for back rent or owed utilities, owed utilities, janitorial cleaning,
Which could include carpet cleaning.
collect, or anything over normal wear and tear.
And that's the ticket. That's the hard one.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get residents. Let's use that property that you're talking about, that you did all that research and you can verify that they did not treat that property in good condition. They left it with a lot more than normal wear and tear. The way the law reads is normal wear and tear, and the way the resident interprets that is just crazy sometimes.
Yes.
Tell us a couple crazies that you've had.
I've got one that I've dealt with where normal wear and tear is, it's okay to have a hole in the wall. That's normal wear and tear.
What? I've lived in properties. Okay, so I've probably, off the top of my head, I have lived in 6 properties that have been mine. And I can vouch right now that my son put the hole in the wall once, and I absolutely took responsibility for it. Had a handyman come out, patch, repair, and paint. I would not think that when he threw his remote control because he was mad and it put a hole in the wall, that's normal wear and tear. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I understand for people who live in a property, let's say 2 years, and your furniture has rubbed up against the wall. That's normal wear and tear. Okay. I mean, we get that every day, even in our office. It's normal wear and tear because we bump up something or whatnot.
Yeah. And you have to live in the property, and sometimes that just happens. What about like big holes from screws and things that they've anchored in for a big screen TV?
That is resident responsibility because normal wear and tear is pinhole.
Yeah.
Pinhole or thumbtack. That is normal wear and tear.
And for any residents that are out there, I would highly recommend, if you're in a rental, just go get some of those really cool strips.
Command strips.
Yeah, just put the command strip on the wall. Then that way you can hang something up, and then once in a while the command strip will leave a little mark, but that mark is not going to cause us to consider it over normal wear and tear. So a lot of times a resident will be like, hey, I want to save my security deposit, and I've moved all my furniture out, and my living room wall looks pretty rough. So you know what? I'm going to go down to Home Depot, and I'm going to go get a color match, and I'm going to try and paint those holes. What do you see in that scenario, Alonda?
Polka dots.
I set her up for a softball because we have sat in her office so many times looking at the move out photos, and I'll be like, how did they even think that could be acceptable? It would have been better for them to have not touched it, allowed a professional to come in, which we would send that vendor over there, and then the vendor would do a true touch up, being that they will blend everything into the wall, and you wouldn't have polka dots all over but because there's polka dots, that's not normal wear and tear.
No, it's not.
No. So there will be a line item on their security deposit transmittal that will be called touch-up paint. And one of the things I noticed, at least in the last year, because vendors have gone up in their prices.
Yes.
Paint has gone up, the gas has gone up, insurance has gone up, and it is reflective on the cost that they give to us.
Yeah.
That is when residents get really upset, I've noticed, is like, that line item is $500 or $450 for touch-up, and that's ridiculous. No, guys, that's not ridiculous. So if an owner is listening out there and you have to hire a vendor to do a heavy touch-up, you're probably on a 2,000 square foot house, you're probably somewhere in the ballpark of $600 to $800. Is that correct? Yeah. Because of full paint in today's world right now, I know we have 4 or 5 vendors that we use, and it ranges. But what's our low to our high on the full paint?
Full paint, I've got one vendor that is $1.30 a square foot, which they've just gone up again.
Yeah.
Another vendor that's $1.66 a square foot. And then I have others that I try not to use for full paints because they're over $2.
Yeah. But if you are just an individual that hires a vendor one time, they don't know you, there's no relationship. I've seen that go as high as $2.50 to $2.75. So I do know that as a property manager, we offer much better prices than what would be industry standard. And that's why it gets a little frustrating when a resident gets upset about that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, some of the things that they think about. What I'd like to do is remind the residents that if they're unhappy with their security deposit transmittal and they want to take us to court, let's say, the burden is on them. It's on them because they're saying we did something wrong. So therefore, they need to have all of the documentation to prove that we did something that was outside of what the law is. Now, my question then is, do they have their move-in photos? Did they get their move-in inspection report that shows all of that?
Yeah.
Do they know how to pull it up? Are they going to bring it to court? Most of the time they don't, but they should.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, these are the things that you want to write down and protect yourself. The next thing is did they leave the property at the time they said they were going to leave the property?
Sometimes no.
Right.
And I think I feel that we set everybody up for success when it comes to that, whether it's a holiday, whether it's the middle of the night, whether our office is closed. I feel we set everybody up for that because in the documentation with the punch list that's sent out to everybody that's vacating, it states, once you've vacated the property, please email that you've vacated the property.
Yeah.
And then I touch you 4 times throughout the month with the same information.
Yeah. And that's what's always a little frustrating when all our leases end on the last day of the month.
Correct.
That's just the way we set that up. If you're an owner and you have a lease that's a little different, the same rules apply, which is the day the lease terminates, the very next day, you should have possession of the property.
Correct.
Which means that resident, and in our case, it's as easy as leaving keys in a drawer, securing the property, taking a picture of it, emailing it, and saying, we're out. Mm-hmm. We make it so easy. However, if you're an individual owner and you have a different protocol, the most important thing as a resident is know to get the keys to your owner the next day. Mm-hmm. If you don't, or the owner should charge you a prorated per day rate.
Correct.
Which is you take the entire monthly rent, you divide it by 30, because in Nevada you always use 30, but there's 31 days, 28 days, you just use 30. And that number, whatever that number is, you times it by how many days they were in possession of that property without giving it back to you. Mm-hmm. And that's what's shocking to me. That is the one topic that residents get so angry about because they will see the security deposit transmittal. They will see a line item that says 4 days of prorated rent. Yep. And they're going to be like, well, this is exactly what they say. My lease was terminated on the 30th of the month. You're right. It was terminated, mm-hmm. but you were an unlawful holdover mm-hmm. for those 4 days.
Correct.
And if I was really being picky, an unlawful holdover in our lease has a 30% increase on rent. I could add that 30% to the base rent and then divide it by 30 and make it. But I'm a nice person. We try and be fair. Yeah. We just use whatever rent that they paid the month before.
Correct.
But man, I'm always shocked that is a hot button for a resident.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're planning on moving out of your rental, be aware that if you have a lease that terminates on the 15th of the month and you don't get keys or possession to that owner until the 18th, you're paying those 3 days of rent. You rightfully should.
Yeah.
You didn't give possession to the owner. Mm-hmm. He didn't have the right to have the property until you gave them that possession.
Correct.
So that's always interesting. One of the other thing that I've always find a little baffling. If you're moving out of a rental, the landlord, the property manager, or whoever you've been dealing with needs to know your forwarding address.
Yeah.
Because how in heaven's name are they going to refund you whatever's left of the security. Or the other idea is what you owe over and above the security if they don't know where to send it.
Correct.
Now, in Nevada, if you don't give us a forwarding address, then we're going to use the existing address.
Yes.
And a lot of times that doesn't really work. I mean, you're just not getting that information that you should because you've already forgot to do a forwarding address or the mail didn't get to you. So it's important to know that.
Well, one thing that's funny, and I've asked questions, and I've got, because I'm at the post office so much, is I've asked them, when you do a certificate of mail or a certified mail, those items are non-forwarding.
Oh.
You can't forward those. So if you give me if you don't give me your forwarding address and you're 123 Elm Street, and that's where I send your paperwork to,
because legally that's what we do to prove to the state that we did
correct
and completed our security deposit transmittal
and mailed it within the 30-day time frame.
Correct.
So if I'm sending it to that address and you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to give my forwarding address because it doesn't they'll forward it. Certifieds and certificate of mails do not forward. They come right back to the property manager or to the homeowner. So remember that.
That is, you know what, out of all these years, Alonda, I just learned something. I mean, I know Alonda lives at the post office. I mean, basically, she knows everybody at the post office. They all know her by name. Oh, hi, Alonda. How are you? I knew you were tight with the post office, but I did not know that was a little something. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you do what you're supposed to do because the resident doesn't give you a forwarding address. You send everything to the last known address, and then it doesn't get forwarded.
No, it comes right back to us.
And if you owe money, that's going to hurt your credit. And if you were supposed to get money, that check after 3 months is voided.
Yeah.
So you didn't even get your money. It's almost like you lost out on that.
You know, I got a funny story for you. We have a resident.
Tell me. I like stories.
We have a resident that gave me his forwarding address, but he did not put his name in the mailbox to receive mail.
Oh.
And his check came back to us. And he got his full security deposit back.
Wow.
He came in a year later because he rented another one of our rentals and asked about his security deposit check. And the homeowner, because that money just goes into an account for the homeowner released, because, I mean, rightfully it's his.
Right.
So the homeowner had us write a check for his full security deposit a year later.
That was very nice because technically we did everything we were supposed to do and the resident failed to do their part. So if he didn't end up getting that security deposit, that was at his own peril.
But that's me. That's us emailing. That's us texting to come pick it up. Yeah. So
let's talk. We only have a couple more minutes, and I just want to talk about this myth out there, which is you break your lease. You know, so you're a breach of lease, and for some unknown reason, the residents think, okay, well, I'm just going to give them the security deposit because, you know, obviously it's a forfeit of their security deposit. But then they think they can wash their hands.
Oh, no.
I mean, they can leave the property, and some do, with their, you know, hangers and their clothes and, you know, the garbage that's left in the garage that they never really took out to the curb. How do you handle something like that, Alonda?
So what we do is there are several different forms of breach of lease. Several different. Let's say resident vacates, doesn't pay last month's rent. I'm just going to forfeit, you know, I'm just going to move out early, avoid the eviction. That's a forfeit of security deposit. That's a month of rent. Plus, over and above of that, it's what it costs to get the property back in the condition of which you originally rented it. Correct. Janitorial, carpet cleaning, trash removal, paint touch up, things like that.
And I have a lot of residents that say, oh, you can't charge me that over and above the security because it doesn't fall under the 3 categories. But it does. It absolutely does, because everything they did, everything they left there was not normal wear and tear.
Correct.
And who is going to remove all of those things to get the property back on the market for rent? So a lot of times people that will breach their lease, can't pay the month's rent, don't want the eviction, just leave in the middle of the night, that is going to follow them, because what we do is we'll do the proper procedure of the security deposit transmittal, forfeit the security, do a 1 month's rent because that's rightfully owed to the owner under the NRS. and then anything else that was above normal wear and tear to get the property up on the market.
Okay.
And then now that resident has, let's say, $3,000 over and above, and that's going to follow them. It's going to follow them on their credit. It's going to follow them if they apply anywhere, and not just apply for as a new resident somewhere. It will follow them if they go to try and buy a car.
Yep.
It may follow them when they want to try and get insurance, a better rate of
Yeah.
insurance, because their FICO score has been lowered due to the landlord collection. And that's what it's called,
Yeah.
landlord collection. I know here at McKenna Property Management, if you have a landlord collection, it's almost an automatic denial for your application. It has to be a pretty darn good reason, documented up on why that was a landlord
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And usually we won't even look unless the landlord collection has been satisfied.
Yeah.
So one last thing before we say goodbye to our listeners. If they do have an outstanding balance, what do you recommend for that resident?
I ask that, or I recommend that call the property manager, call your landlord, see if you've gone to collections. If you haven't gone to collections yet, make a payment arrangement, please. Because if you make a payment arrangement and you're trying to, let's say, get a new home because you've been, let's say, living in your car since then, that property manager, if you're doing good, will 9 times out of 10 say that you're making payments.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's what we do.
Yeah. If somebody's taking on the responsibility of their back debt
Yeah.
and they're making payments and they're consistent on it, then we're going to be good. We're going to give them that fresh start.
Yeah.
But if they're just going to let that sit on their credit, then no way, Jose, they are not going to be something that we want in
Yeah.
one of our properties.
Exactly.
Well, this was fun. I mean, I just wanted everybody to hear what you need to be aware of when you're doing a closeout, because that's a technically difficult kind of thing if you don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
So, and you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. If you're the owner of the property, you don't want that resident to come back and sue you. And then obviously as property managements, we like to protect our owners for their investments. Hopefully you've gotten something good from this. I am telling you, Alonda is amazing. If you have any questions, you can always email us and Alonda can respond to you. But you have been listening to Thoughts for Rent, Realtors Keeping It Real with my co-host Alonda, myself, Jenni McKenna. We sure do appreciate you listening. If you know somebody that could benefit from this podcast, please send it to them, share it with them. And if you would like to subscribe so that you can see our podcast or hear our podcast, we drop once a week. All right, let's say our goodbyes, Alonda.
Oh, there you go. Sound good? Okay, good. I'll pass over to Ireland. Here you go, kid.
Thanks, Pops.